sage. I need some sage. I rebuke all spells, rituals, and or castings that are not of the highest frequencies of source love consciousness that may have been projected my way on all timelines, dimensions, and planes, consciously, unconsciously, and or subconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly. Anything and everything I am connected to energetically, physically, emotionally, and etherically shall be protected. All will be transmuted into love and sent back to its source. I am sovereign and free. All agreements I may have agreed to on lower paradigms of existence shall be cut, ended on all timelines, dimensions, and planes, consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously, knowingly and or unknowingly. I am sovereign. I am sovereign. I am sovereign. It is done, and so it is. Credit to Tim Rogers. Oh, good day, family. Yeah, I was struggling. Did I want to come on tonight? But I know I need to come on tonight. I know. So I get my ass up and go on and come on and read this book, read and learn what I need to learn, what we need to know about us. So let me just collect myself and stuff, because it's here it is right here. We're gonna learn about somebody tonight. We're gonna learn about our people tonight. We're gonna learn. But it's good to see y'all. I hope everyone had a wonderful day today, a safe day today. And look out for each other and our people especially. Yep. Good day, Layla. Go harder. I know that's right. Go harder. We're gonna have to. Yeah, it's difficult. These are unprecedented times. I don't think I ever really thought this much and tried to be engaged this much with my people and focus this much on my people intentionally. I mean, this is with intention. But it's a new era. We're in a new era, and we're so fortunate that we are are we woke to witness it? And we ain't just being drugged along, because we're going to have to steer our people. We're going to have to steer our masses. It ain't going to take but a percentage of us. But we're going to have to steer our masses. Everybody else been steering us right to hell. We ain't got no morals, no values within our masses and stuff. We got to steer our own people. Teach our own people. I mean, shit, it's time now. What we got to lose? What do we have to lose? Nothing. But we got everything to gain. We got everything. And it's for the best for everybody. This is for the best for everybody, because we don't just be looking out for us. We make sure everybody is taken care of. So don't feel like we just doing, this to get back at folks and to neglect and reject other folks and stuff, because that's not who we are. We still are helpful, kind, forgiving, loving, helpful, nurturing people. We just putting us first. We putting us first now. We don't ever turn anything away, that needs our help and stuff. And that's not what this means right here. The contributions that our ancestors created was for everybody. It made this country so much better. They didn't invent nothing that only served us. Everybody was able to use it. Everything. And they did. They still are. Yeah, I think they're gonna put everything our ancestors created and invented on the back burner, and go ahead and ride this new world order, this futuristic world. Go ahead and ride it as hard as they could. That's their plan. Then when it's all over and done with, and they think they won, I guess it's their intent to tear down the machines and bring all the greatness that our ancestors done sacrificed and built and created and contributed, then bring all of it back so everybody else can enjoy the fruits. That ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. No. So I think, in my opinion, we probably need maybe 15%. I don't know. I'm waiting on the brothers, and the sisters to give me some numbers, some statistics. But they ain't even got to give them to me. But I think it's probably about maybe 15%. And we, can strongly, intentionally focus on us. I think we can help our people. We can save our people enough. And then the ones that, we can't, we just have to make sure they are at a place that's safe for them at least. Those that, oh, hell no, I don't want to go. We're in a hard spot. We're in a difficult spot right now. I wish we were in a better position for ourselves, but we're not. We start from scratch. We ain't got nothing. It's like we're leaving off the plantation again. But, yeah, we ain't going to worry, though. We ain't going to worry. We just going to be wary and do what we got to do, what we know we must do. And y'all, yeah, everybody planning on getting their passports and stuff. Our people are getting their passports and getting ready to leave America. Some of them done already left, been gone for 5, 10, 15 years, loving it. And they telling us that's here now that it's best if we can get ours too. You better be ready to go at moment's notice. But all of us ain't going to be able to do that. Everybody ain't going to be able to leave, Some of us that can going to choose to just stay here. We're going to stay here and hold down the fort. Some of us going to stay here and try to hold down the fort. But I just want to say to you, if you can and you want to, you feel it in your heart, then yeah, get your passport, get your baby's passports. Let everybody get theirs and be ready, to go. If you feel the need to get up out of here and stuff, because America finna be, going through some shit. America got to atone for these travesties that they've done, all this torture, the white man and the white woman. They got to atone for this. Yeah, it's out of our control. The delectable Negro. I wasn't going to come on tonight, and I was thinking to myself, Should I start reading the Red Record? Ida B. Wells' book, but no, I don't want to even read it. We're going to read it all together and learn about it together and stuff. It's so much, I know I don't want to be reading it more than once until we all read it again. Whenever this book come back around, whenever Red Summer come back around, and maybe by then we'll be, a little more healed with our people and stuff. That right there just be reinforcement by that point and stuff. So we'll make sure these things never happen again. They can't. We got to make sure they can never happen again. So let's just get some fundamentals out the way, and we're going to read. We ain't got that much to do on this book. I say maybe 3 days, I guess. I don't see. We did good. We doing good. We done read that much right there. And I sure thank y'all. The ancestors really do thank y'all. We're a little bit over half. See? I know it don't look like it, but it is. And they really do appreciate y'all having the interest to even hear about what they went through. It's enough that your mind can imagine what they went through. And I don't need to hear it, face. I don't need to hear it. But they need us to hear with our ears. They need us to feel with our heart, our mind, our souls, what they went through, so that maybe we can understand where some of this restlessness, most of this restlessness is coming from with us. This division within us. We fought, y'all. Our ancestors fought every day to get away from these people. And now we got to continue to fight. You see a good fight, get in it. That's what Vernon John said. If you see a good fight, get in it. This is the fight. We are. We the only thing that matters at this point. We can't be concerned about other people and other issues that's going on with people and stuff. Everybody got to save their damn self. Because we got to save us now. Everybody could have made this better for us. But then nobody ever want to sacrifice, not their voice or a vote for us ever. And now it's come to this. And it's by force. Because we didn't choose this. We did not choose this. We chose to be, integrated with everybody else into society and to work and grow, and build up America. We forsake our own self to be with white folks, basically. If you want to just put it quick and to the point, we gave up everything to be with white folks. And they won't have to worry about us building up and creating our genius, talents and skills that we got. If we just, just let them control everything. But can't we see here? They done fucked everything up. Everything. Not only this country, but it seems like outside the world and stuff. And what I've been picking up and stuff, it's like it ain't I don't think it's too many places on this whole planet that white folks ain't reached out and touched. I didn't know it was the hell. I ain't really been nowhere. I'm not a cosmopolitan. I don't travel and stuff. I stay put. I try to stay put close where I'm supposed to be at. But it seemed like, and I'm sure a lot of y'all that travel and get around and you're a cosmopolitan. You travel. I'm sure y'all see the difference and stuff out there. So you know what's going on with our people out there over the world and stuff. We ain't really got no safe place we could go. Thanks to white America. But I digress. We gonna take care of all of that. We finna do for us now, not for everybody else. So let's read. Let's just read. It's good to see y'all. I'm gonna maximize this because I don't like to really be looking at all the numbers and stuff. I like to give my shout outs. And I love y'all. I thank y'all so much for your patience and your kindness, just being here. Yeah, I know it take a lot and stuff. And I want to start with the introductions and stuff, I guess, just a little bit of it and stuff. I'm Face the Nation. We on Bolden Unchained. And we're here to assist Black America and Black media with the uncovering of the many agendas, events, projects, operations, laws, acts, codes, memorandums, courses, studies, experiments, documents, plans, codes, like the black codes and stuff. I'm just learning about all this stuff. I am just learning about all of this stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? But it's so many, but that's okay. We gonna get to it. We gonna get to it and see what it means to us. What has it meant for us? All of these things that they've been doing and stuff, yeah. You might feel the same way I do. You should. Black America, you should. We look it through a spiritual lens, y'all, because I'm not religious. I'm not religious. My mama knew it before she passed over, that I'm not religious. I thought I was. I tried to be. I followed my mother and grandmother and my great grandmother and my aunts and my uncles and stuff. I followed and I believed. And, I never read the Bible and stuff, but I believed. I had faith. I had enough faith of a mustard seed. And that's what the Bible said. That's all you need and stuff. And I had it. I never read the Bible and stuff, but it wasn't true for me. It didn't resonate with me, but that was all I knew was God, Jesus, and heaven and hell. And so I could decide I ain't going to hell. My mama did teach me, don't kill, steal, and destroy. I didn't need the Bible for that. The common sense things that my mama taught me and stuff, that's what helped me. That's what brought me here, got me here. I didn't listen to a lot of it in time when I was supposed to, or I would have quit school. I wouldn't have quit school in the 11th grade. But for the most part and stuff, I haven't made any detrimental, harmful acts and stuff that was out of, just not listening and doing reckless shit out there and following other people and stuff. I wasn't really a follower, but I had friends and stuff, and we would think it'd be cool to, let's drink a 6-pack or whatever, some shit like that. But I didn't really read the Bible like that. I wouldn't have Bible study, As soon as I didn't have to go to church, I quit because it didn't resonate with me, but I still knew that I wasn't going to hell. I still knew that I wasn't going to hell. Shit, what am I going to do to go to hell? I could believe. My mama believed it with her whole heart. My grandmama, y'all's did too. So, but now today, allegedly 2025, I got new information now that my mama didn't have. You gonna stay in that room and I got new information. You got new information that our parents, our grandparents didn't have. My uncle and them didn't have this information and stuff that we got today. So, we can make a more informed decision. I am. It's not just heaven and hell. It's the afterlife for us, for black people, black America and black Africa. And white folks cannot even go past heaven. Now, the other groups of people and stuff, I really don't know, but I don't think they, is possibly in the afterlife either. I don't know. Maybe they are. I'm just talking about white folks. White folks cannot go to the afterlife. They taking their ass to heaven. See, and I'm not going to heaven. I'm going to the afterlife. I'm taking that first exit. Yep, I'm not even taking the alleyway close to heaven. Nope, I don't care if it's closer where I'm trying to get to. I'm going to take that first exit. I'm going to go all the way around heaven. I'm not going to heaven. We got new information now, y'all. This is the age of information. What is this? Aquarius, Pisces, one of them? I've been learning about that and stuff too. Everything is being revealed. You, Black America, you got to wake up because this whole thing is about you. All of this awakening is on time because of you, Black America, Black Africa. Black America and Black Africa are one and the same. I ain't never been to Africa, but it resonates with me. At some point, we are going to merge the two. I am. My ancestors said, yes, we're going to merge the two. But for right now and stuff, I have to deal with what's wrong with my people right here in America. What's wrong with us? Everybody been asking and stuff, what's wrong with us? Why we can't get together? Why we can't come together? Only for funerals. We might come together for a reunion, but it better not be too long. It better not be too long. We got a certain limit where it's like it's innately. We stay together, but after then, we done got caught up and done, let's shoot the breeze a little bit and stuff. Then we got to split up because if we don't, we're going to start creating. and building and imagining and envisioning and stuff. And we already know, even if we don't recognize it, we instinctively know that there's off limits for what white America will accept. And that's what I think it is. I'm trying to find out what else is scaring us, is making us too timid, too shy, too docile, to stand up for ourselves, too weak, scared as fuck to stand up for ourselves, for our babies, knowing as detrimental as time feels right now, I know you feel it inside of you, that we're supposed to be standing up for our people, making sure that, no, this ain't right for our children. Just to see what the rump now is taking away and stuff, doing away with everything that's been contributed and stuff, that alone ought to have us, looking up, wondering what the fuck is going on. Y'all back to y'all same old shit. So see, this right here is just a learning journey and stuff. I wanted to get in where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be. That's why I'm here. Because I see the need too. What's wrong with us? Everybody asking what's wrong with us. It ain't too late. Malcolm asked us that a long time ago. I didn't know. Because where I'm from, them neck of the woods, they don't teach us nothing. I was pissed when I found out Christopher Columbus wasn't no fucking hero. I wish I ain't even gonna go there and stuff. But yeah, so I'm learning myself stuff that I never knew. And now we trying to answer Malcolm, who taught us to hate ourselves. Seems to me like it's white folks. It's saying to me like it's white folks. So yeah, we looking through a spiritual lens. I did forgive too. I ain't always felt like this. I forgave and got along with folks and stuff. I didn't throw nothing up in white folks' faces and stuff. I didn't know a lot, but I knew about slavery. We never just threw anything up. So y'all ass still plotting behind our backs and stuff. We never do shit like that. We not that type of people and stuff. But I did forgive, and now I don't. Yeah, Dr. Francis Chris Wilson said that we ain't got to forgive nobody if we don't want to. Yeah. And so I don't. I took back every ounce of forgiveness I done gave white folks. Sure have, honey. I ain't even got no benefit of the doubt that I will give to white folks. And so I give everything that's mine to my ancestors. I give everything that's mine to my ancestors. All my loyalty, my faith, my benefit of the doubt. I give it all. My forgiveness, my accepting, my nurturing, my embracing. I give it all to my ancestors. I ain't got nothing to give to white folks, but just being civil with them. But hell, I'm civil with animals and stuff. I can be civil. We can be civil. But that's as far as I can go with it and stuff. Because hell, I really got to pay attention with my eyes, ears, and my instincts around white folks. And it is that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. That's what we must do. You got to stay aware, Black America, of white folks. Because whether you know it or not, white folks ain't never had no therapy. They ain't never had no therapy. Now, these white folks today and stuff that claim they don't know nothing about this, they wasn't here, this wasn't them and stuff, we wasn't there either. But we feel what happened. And I know it was your ancestors. These people that did these things was white folks' ancestors. Y'all don't want to call yourself the Klan. Hell, we didn't come up with that word play. Y'all did it. So then was your ancestors. That's inside of you. You might fool yourself. See, white folks fooling themselves that this is not them, but it is. Who else is it? Is it another type of being that took over white folks' body and mind and spirit, where this wasn't them? I'm just saying shit like that don't just go away, Black America. Now, don't be a fool and a dummy. Now, yeah, Luther said, yeah, a fool for love is there. Everybody might be a fool. Once, twice, 3 times might be a damn fool. But don't be a fool and a dummy when you got all the evidence, all the facts that you need for you, Black America. Yeah, it made me feel some type of way. What these folks is really, trying to do and stuff. This white folks chance right here, right now. And why you got everybody else out there, and they protesting about the deportation and all of that stuff and being fired from their DEI jobs and stuff, why they out there and stuff for all the love. Now, white America, I know other groups of people ain't out there acting in charge and stuff, because white folks always got to be the ones in charge. I'm just saying, out of all of them folks, somebody need to be, and cut the check for Black America. We here for us and for Black America. It's time for white folks to stand up, for everybody. Us too. I know they always feel like, nah, we ain't getting you nothing if Black folks gonna get some of it. That's how they always been. But now things have changed. It ain't gonna go back the same. Sure ain't. When all of this is over and stuff, we can either get along or y'all asses gonna get along. Yeah, you're gonna get on away from us. We ain't even gotta be integrated like that. We don't. It's time to start being respectful. Have some respect for folks, white America. It's time for y'all to do what you need to do for what your ancestors done did to my people. My people are the only ones that you ain't tried to make no amends. You ain't tried to make no corrections. You ain't tried to be atoned for nothing that your ancestors done did to my ancestors. You ain't tried to do nothing. Just hide it all and act like, oh yes, we gonna go to the park. And that's it. And like we just supposed to overlook everything. It's all over and gone, and ain't no need speaking about you. But you done terrible damage. Your people have. You've done terrible damage to everybody. I imagine every group of people probably can tell what you, white America, done did to them. I'm here to tell you what you done did to my people. Because it looked to me like you paid everybody else off. You paid everybody else. But the ones you should have been paying, you haven't done that. You haven't done that. So, I ain't forgiving nothing for you. Now, you going to earn my respect, my forgiveness. And even then, that's just so that we all can be a little bit more cordial and on the same page here on earth. But after this, after earth, we ain't going to heaven with you anyway. We don't need to. We don't need to go to heaven and spend forever and ever and ever with y'all. After the way you treated us here on earth. I'll get into it and let y'all know and stuff, but white America need to know these things, and we need to understand that they got to learn this for themselves. We can't teach this to white America. We can't keep explaining it to them and stuff. They know. Either they get it or they don't. But now we ain't finna hang around and beat around the bush and give them time to understand and comprehend what it is, because they already know. They already motherfucking know. What they need to do is just repent and repay. Have some remorse, for what's happened. And be sincere. Be sincere. Because anything else ain't going to work. Anything else is not going to work. If that's going to be the case, then you might as well go on and say you're a whole different species of a people. You're not like us or any other group of people. You're not like animals. You're a whole different type of species. If you can't stand up for what you've done, your people have done, your ancestors have done. I mean, shit, this is where hell, the truth must be told about you too. Now, white America, everybody else ain't just being held accountable, holding each other accountable, holding themselves accountable. It's time to hold you accountable too. So, y'all with white folks in your lives and stuff, I don't know, you got some serious decisions to make. And so we looking through a spiritual lens. Nothing religious here. Sure, right? I know some of the stories in the Bible and stuff, but I don't believe none of it. I guess they say it's allegory, it's just stories that they tell and stuff, but the shit is fucking confusing, Yeah, it just is. It's so confusing and stuff, but it ain't gotta be. No, this right here gonna simplify it real good and quick for you. Yeah, these readings right here is for life and the afterlife, y'all. I didn't know none of this. When I sat down and started reading Red Summer, the Black Bible, honey, that's what it was. That's what it became. It's our Black Bible. And it's got Jesus in it. This book, it's got a Jesus in it. Black Jesus. Yeah. You can hang on to your white Bible and stuff, it's yours. You can hold on to it and stuff, but you ain't disrespecting that white Bible because you reading the black Bible now. Black Bibles. And you learning about black Jesuses now. We got 100 years right here. You got more than one Jesus. See, you crying and fainting and everything in the Bible for one Jesus, Cesario Borgia, or whatever his name is and stuff. The Council of Nicaea gave that man the whole name, took a picture of his son, stepson, or somebody, and there you have him. Yeah, and I know the Bible be saying he got bronze feet and kinky hair and stuff, but what you see and what you learn is what sticks with you. Yeah, it's what sticks with you and stuff, because if it didn't, you'd be out telling everybody, your pastor, first lady, the other church, because down south and stuff, we got like 9 churches. No, maybe 5. Maybe 5 or 6 churches. I'm from a little bitty hick town. And it's about 5 or 6 churches, I guess. I ain't never counted them and stuff. But yeah, if it did right now, you'd have been at all of them. Take that white man off the wall. He got to come down. So see, that picture, listening to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she was talking about that picture. That picture is where you go wrong at. That picture fucks you up and stuff. So yeah, don't feel bad, because now See, it's new information. We got new information today. This is our Bible. It's true. It's true. Yeah, you might say, no, I'm not going to read that in the same context that it's the Bible face. I'm not going to do it. Well, that's you rejecting, refusing new information. New information. You ain't got to say it's the black Bible and stuff. You ain't got to deny that Willie Brown is Jesus. He's on wood. He on Kidland. We see him right here. It ain't no movie. No, it ain't no movie. It ain't no story that our mama, our grandmama, our granddaddy, everybody done passed down. How long Jesus been here? 2,000, 3,000, 6,000 years. I don't even know how long he been here and stuff. But I'm just saying, this right here is real, true life. Yeah, true life. Why come he ain't Jesus? He on kindlings of wood. He's in hell. He's burning right there in hell. How come he ain't Jesus? How come they ain't our Jesus? How come you can't get your own Jesus? Why you got to be given Jesus Christ? Black America. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. I don't know. It just started being clarifying the insanity of religion when I knew I had to read. And this was going to be my purpose, reading to us, to find out what's wrong with us. It was just like, I got to read and learn what we done been through. And this was it. And I didn't know what to start with. The ancestors said start with Red Summer. So I started with Red Summer. This was our first book. And yeah, there's Willie Brown right there on page, what page is it? It's in between 148, because it's a couple of pages right there. And he's one of them. Yeah. 148 to 149. It's after 148. They not numbered and stuff. But they on there and stuff. Then on page 64, honey, the man, William Joseph Simmons, that revived the Ku Klux Klan in 1915. That man said he revived the Klan because he had a spiritual vision. And there wasn't no spiritual vision. The Klansmen, he didn't say Klansmen, he said a robed horseman galloping in the sky. Yeah, on page 1915. I don't know how these people put together these lies and this manipulation. I don't know. I guess they just give themselves and each other permission to let a little bit out, a little bit at a time. I mean, this was in 1915 when this right here, when he revived the Ku Klux Klan. And he said that was shortly after seeing Birth of a Nation. And then he heard about the lynching of Leo Frank outside of Atlanta. And so, he had that spiritual vision. That was a demonic vision. There wasn't no spiritual vision. Who the hell would put the Klansmen galloping in the sky? In heaven. Oh, and then it said in the vision of a map of the United States. There you heaven right there. Yeah. Ain't that the United States right there? That's the shape of the United States. He said that the vision was in the shape of the United States. And the robed horsemen were galloping in the sky. Page 64. He said he formed a group in response to a spiritual vision of robed horsemen galloping in the sky, followed by a vision of a map of the United States. So, well, who lying? Who lying? Is this heaven for real, y'all? You done read that Bible. You done read that Bible. Is that Bible reminiscent of anything? And read between the lines and stuff now. And see, are you supposed to go to heaven? The Bible saying one thing and he's saying something else, and history teaching us something else. So you got to ask some questions. Are you really supposed to go to heaven with these folks here? You know it's a gate up there, pearly white gates. You know it's some gates up there. In your mind, knowing white Jesus, Jesus Christ, Cesareo Borgia, you know he white. Blonde hair and blue eyes. You accepted in Black America like that. It don't matter that you know he's a black man, Jesus Christ. It don't matter that other places know and stuff. What matters is that you let that lie, that narrative take over your mindset. So unless you break it, you got to break it. And honey, to break that mindset, you're going to have to become familiar and learn and know some black Jesuses. It just came to me. The way to get that white Jesus out of your mind, honey, you're going to have to learn some black Jesuses to get that man out of your mind. Because if you don't, when you do pass over and end up in heaven, that's where you're going to be at, behind them pearly white gates. And I didn't know. They ain't saying nothing to me about it. When you get up there and stuff, the ancestors gave me these downloads, y'all. When you get over there and you cross over, them ain't clouds on the other side. That's cotton. That's cotton on the other side. We've been talking about it. That's cotton on the other side. I got some cotton here. I'm waiting to get my shelves and stuff. But I got some cotton. Yes, I'm waiting on somebody to send me some new cotton because it fell off the stem. But that's all right. We're going to keep it. It fell off the stem. And so I'm waiting on somebody to send me some cotton in the mail. Yep, send me some. Just go on out there behind your house and pick you some cotton. Send it to my business address. Talk to me. Maybe you can just send it to. That's cotton. Yeah, and that's what's on the other side over there. Big ass cotton in heaven. You get to heaven, Black America, it's gonna be as above, so below. Yeah, it's new information. This is new information, new knowledge. It's new for me too. I don't want y'all to think, I've been thinking about it. I don't want y'all to think that I'm disrespecting other religions and stuff like that, you know. And when I said, paint Jesus, you might well, if Jesus got a white face and brown feet, you might well paint his feet brown and stuff. I'm not making light of it and picking with your higher power, nothing like that. You know, I'm not. You know, I respected it too. And I looked forward to it too and stuff, but it ain't true. It's a lie. Shit, if it wasn't so detrimental and stuff, I'd probably just be laughing the whole time before I get to reading and stuff. But this is serious because you're going to trap yourself forevermore. Forever and ever and ever, you're going to be trapped in heaven with white folks that's up there doing the same thing they doing down here. That's what they came up with, heaven. They created heaven. We belong in the afterlife. See, it's different. Nobody ever told me that there was a multiverse out there. I just learned and understood and I accepted, okay, it's a universe out there. Honey, it's like 12 universes out there. More than 12. The multiverses is infinite. They don't know how many multiverses is out there. They don't know. It could be a multiverse going all directions at once. They don't know what's out there and stuff. They just telling us they do, but they don't know what's out there. And telling us we got to go to heaven or hell. That ain't true, Black America. You ain't got to go to heaven. You can go further than heaven. I'm going to the 12th of never. I'm going to the 12th of never. I don't ever want to spend another, after this existence right here and living and coexisting on this planet with white folks. I don't never want to spend another of my existence with white folks no more. I'm sure not gonna say that. I'm sure not gonna willingly, voluntarily, readily say I'm finna go to heaven with white folks. No, I'm not going to heaven or hell with white folks. I'm going to the afterlife with my ancestors. Yeah, with my ancestors. That's where I'm going there. And I freed all of those that was in heaven because they didn't have the information. They didn't have the new knowledge that we got. Isaac McGee, all of them. Richard Coleman, John Pennington, all of them. They ended up in heaven because they didn't have the information we got now. Heaven is big. Heaven is humongous. You can't be happy in heaven. You can be happy in heaven. You can even be in places where you ain't even got to see white folks in heaven. But it's still heaven. It's still heaven. So, I was just like, didn't make no sense. If I'm not going there, spend my forevermore, I don't want my ancestors there either. And I just feel, ain't no justice here. They never received justice here on earth. And it seemed to me like, going to heaven and stuff, ain't no justice up there for them either. Everybody asking for forgiveness before they die because all these people lived out their lives. Yeah, after they did all this horrible lynching and torturing and castrating and just carving parts out of black people and stuff and eating it and burning it and selling it and taking pictures of them and stuff. Most of them, all of them, I guess, probably 97% of all these damn beasts, these cannibals, they live long lives. Had babies, got married, built businesses and stuff. Right, some of them right here in Minnesota. Lynches in Duluth. Shit, after them motherfuckers hung Isaac and Elias and Elmer, they acted like ain't a thing happened. White folks did. White Duluthians did. And acted like ain't a thing happened, honey, and it was business as usual. Yep, right today, over Irene Tuscan motherfucking ass. Her ass too. She didn't marry her boyfriend, Jimmy, the one that they conspired that lie that she would rape. She didn't marry him. She ended up marrying somebody else. That wasn't our book. I had to take it back. But yeah, them people, they lived out their whole lives and stuff. Then when they died, they just asked forgiveness. God forgave them. That's how I learned it down south and stuff. Yeah, God forgive you as long as you don't kill yourself. He'll forgive anything. You got to have remorse. You got to repent. You got to be sincere. And he'll forgive you. He'll forgive you. That's what they said to me and stuff. You got to be sincere. You can't trick God. But still, at the end of the day and stuff, they were white folks. And, the complexion probably protected them there too. But anyway, I'm just saying it's their heaven. It's white folks' heaven. You as a black people, you better start doing the knowledge and thinking for yourself. You get up in heaven and stuff, honey, it's probably going to be another 400-500 years before somebody come along and say the magic words and free you. Yep. I think when I said it, and there wasn't no justice here, and I don't believe there's any justice there in heaven. Carolyn Bryan is there. All of these men that did all this lynching. The women, y'all, pregnant women was out there lynching. Little bitty kids was out there lynchings and stuff. And they, 1919, 1900s and stuff, they in heaven with our ancestors. Now, where the justice in that? I ask you, just think about it. Just think about it. Don't get to spouting off all that. Well, justice, they can't feel no pain and everybody's the same up there and ain't no hurt and hunger. Where's the justice for them? They don't remember. They don't even know, Face. Why you talking like that? So where's the justice for them? Even if they don't know and remember what they suffered on earth, God know. Your higher power know. The Sky Daddy know, whoever up there, I just call it cosmic energy. Yeah, I just call it cosmic energy, honey. So I'm just saying. Where's the justice for our ancestors? I don't feel like it's none for them here or there in heaven. Ain't no justice for them until they are free. They are free to fly, to be however they want to be. So I told him, yeah, you can leave heaven if you want to. You ain't got to stay in heaven no more. None of you. Because they didn't have the new information. And then, the cosmos protected them when they were lynched. When they was lynched, the cosmos protected them. As soon as they finally gave up the ghost, finally died, they died in the middle of the lynchings and stuff. And when they crossed over, their wings retracted. It's a protective measure. It's a protective measure. The cosmos, we retracted their wings, pulled them in, so they didn't have to get their wings clipped. You, on the other hand, got the information. You got new knowledge. So when the time do come, whenever it is, because the Bible do say don't nobody know when it's going to happen and stuff, you know. I digress, though. But when it do happen, and you with new information, new knowledge, still want to go to heaven, your wings going to be clipped. The cosmos is not going to protect you and we retract your wings just because you denied the new information. This is a new time, a new day. We're in a new era. Things are different now. We must think different now. We got to think different. We got to act accordingly now. We got to rise. We got to elevate with the times that they taking us into. See, yeah, it's like, wow. I'm just saying we got to do these things and stuff. So, yeah, you got to think for yourself. Think for yourself where you want to spend your, and I've just said heaven. You want to spend it in heaven with white folks forever and ever and ever. That's where you're going to be at. Yep. Just give it some thought. But the copyright disclaimer, oh, yeah, the spiritual lens we looking through is loyalty, resilience, and education. Because we need to know who the hell we loyal to. We need to know, where does our loyalty stand? Who are we as a people loyal to? We need to know about our resilience. If we knew about our resilience, all the strength and courage and bravery, integrity we had in us, if we knew these things, we would be different. We would have a different mindset about ourselves. Education, we look through a spiritual lens of education because we need to learn what we never knew. So, yeah, that's the lenses we look at through. I'm sure there's other lenses and stuff, but them is my three, since I just picked them out from somewhere. And, yeah, I don't want to overwhelm myself or you. But the copyright disclaimer under 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. You know, we just read that because we have to. Yep. So we're going to put that to the side. Oh, here goes some of the Project Bluebeam. Then, you know, there's Heart, the weather machine and stuff, because they do be manipulating the weather now. They do be manipulating the weather. All of these things that have been exercised against us and stuff, all of these targets and stuff, all of this stuff has culminated in this new awakening. Yep, everything has. I was thinking that it's because we are so traumatized as a people. We, as the parent of all people, y'all, the beginning of us is not known. It's not known. I believe that the cosmos wanted to experience life, humanity. So the cosmos manifested itself as a black man and a black woman. That's how we began. Don't nobody know when. They don't know how. They asking some motherfucking liars. They don't know. They told your ass Adam and Eve was the beginning. And he came from her rib. She came from his rib. No, it wasn't. Not for us. That might be for white folks. How they came to be. But that ain't how we came to be. We could have been two stars. We were the cosmos in the ethers. But the cosmos wanted to experience life in the flesh. In the flesh. So it manifested a black woman and a black man. There you go. Yeah, you could have been just one star. And as soon as it hit the soil and spread out like fireworks, There was a black woman. There was Eve. Or was it Lucy? The Eve gene took effect. You could have been two stars, the man and the woman. And then when it hit the soil, it activated. They don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. So shit, Dr. Deborah Blair said, you don't know the truth until you decide the truth. This is your reality, Black America. Don't you let nobody tell you your reality. It's time for you to start making your own reality in this motherfucking illusion that we in. I'm just saying. Shit, honey, don't be scared to imagine with your big brain. Shit, that's all white folks trying to do anyway, is extinct black folks so they can take over all your genetic gifts. That's what they trying to do. That's what they've been doing for the longest. Honey, but little do they know, if they minimize these black numbers and get these numbers so low, Black America and Black Africa, because they've been trying, honey, for so long. They get them numbers so small, so minuscule, the sun gonna blow up. The sun gonna blow up. The sun giving energy to everything. The sun giving Black America and Black Africans most of his energy. Yeah, the trees, the waters, the animals, the plants, the marine life, everything is getting energy from the sun. I know that. But Black people is getting the most energy from the sun. So when Black people numbers are so small and tiny, and the energy that we get from the sun got to go back to the sun because we not on the planet no more to receive it, honey, the sun gonna blow the fuck up. Yeah, white folks ain't thought about this. All the scientists and engineers and experts and stuff, I don't know why they ain't told white folks this shit. You better be careful what you're trying to do. Because you fuck around there and blow the whole damn planet up trying to exterminate Black people. I don't know, hell, it seemed to me like, hell, is everybody under the spell? That's not right. Now, somebody gotta do something. Tell these folks shit. You trying to kill everybody, hell. Ain't nobody gonna be here if you do that shit. You're anti-life anyway. Can't you at least now try to be a little humane? Even if it is a new species. I'm just saying. Chat said no, they wasn't a new species. Although I can see why you would think that. But no, something ain't right with their asses. Well, what is it? I'm just saying shit. Yeah, I want some answers. But let's read, y'all. Because we ain't going to be here all night and stuff. But we're going to read. We're going to finish this book. Then we're going to move on and stuff because we're trying to see what's wrong with Black America. Thank the ancestors I didn't start back at slavery. We are in slavery era. We just not at the part where we were enslaved. This right here, we started with after slavery. Yeah. Denise. Hi, it's so good to see you, Denise Wells. I know some Wells too. I don't know, Denise. I ain't going to heaven. Sure ain't. I'm going to the afterlife. Yep, I'm going to the afterlife. I'm not going to heaven with white folks. I'm sure not. Yeah, white folks invented it. Yeah. Well, Black folks better make a new invention. Sure better. But I know I ain't going up there with they motherfucking ass. This is it for me. And I'm just being civil and cordial because that's how my mama taught me to be. But other than that, hell no, we ain't going nowhere together. I'm not spending my forever after with their asses. And I advise my people to reconsider where you gonna go. Yeah, that mind state might be just a mind state, but that mind state will trap your ass in heaven forever and ever. Shit, you be up there, you mean tell me souls is in heaven because they didn't know? It was just a mind state? No, my mind is intentionally deciding right here today that I'm not going to heaven with white folks. They don't deserve my presence or my power. They don't deserve my ghost, my spirit, nothing for the rest of eternity. My forevermore? No, honey, I'm going to be flying around in the afterlife. Sure will. I ain't going to heaven. They're going to clip your wings as soon as you get on the inside them pearly white gates. Hell, you know, the book just said the Klansmen or rogue horsemen galloping in the sky. When you come out of them gates, they right there. That's the overseers. They right there. You know, even if it didn't say that in that book. But that's why he revived the Ku Klux Klan, though. But even if it didn't say that in the book, just seeing the picture of Willie Brown, I know that's Black Jesus. He is. I ain't got to believe in Cesario Borgio. I ain't got to believe in none of that bullshit. All I got to know, believe in and know is that my ancestors lived and suffered. That's enough for me. I don't need the white man's book or his advice on where to go and spend the rest of my forever. Sure don't, honey, and I'm not ashamed and scared to tell nobody. I'm not going with white folks. I'm not going to heaven. I'm going to the afterlife. Shit, all this, oh no, they're gonna be upset and that's not right face and trying to make me believe it. Don't try to sway me. And I'm standing here reading the truth of what happened to my people. It's the indoctrination, y'all. We so indoctrinated. Why would we willingly want to go to heaven with white folks? Why? We can't even think for ourselves. Dr. Ray Hagan said that, you know, it's the paralysis of analysis. Your damn analysis is paralyzed. You can't analyze nothing. Your thought processes is shot. Yep, but, you know. Memphis Commercial Appeal. Oh, and this is 100 Years of Lynching. And this is by Ralph Ginsberg. And I think this is our first book by him. But these are not his views. These are the views of the newspapers that was telling these articles and stuff. That's why they were so rude. Just downright rude, you know, disrespectful to Black men and Black women, because there's Black women in here also. And if I read more than one story on one Black man, one victim, it's because the town had more than one newspaper. And so they were trying to see who could embellish the story and get more subscribers and sell out real quick and stuff like that. So, yeah. Memphis Commercial Appeal, January 14, 1922. Interracial love affair ended by lynching of man. Now, they was in love. We read this the other night because once I seen the title, I just had to read it, but we're going to read it again, too. Florence, South Carolina, January 13th. One Negro was killed and another wounded Sunday by a mob of white citizens in the Black River section of Williamsburg County. The dead man is accused of having been intimate with a white woman. The wounded Negro was driving a buggy into which the other man had leaped in an attempt to elude the mob. Letters from the white woman were found in the pocket of the dead man after the lynching. One of them read as follows: Dearest Ed, I thought of you all during the show last night and wanted you with me. It is too bad that we cannot be together always. My love for you is greater than you can imagine. Sometimes I become so disgusted with conditions in Florence that I want to leave and go someplace where people are sensible, where I can at least walk the streets with you in the daytime without danger and fear. You often impress on me the fact that you are colored and can't take any chances. I know that, darling, but love is greater than color in my case. And we must do the best we can until both of us are in position to leave Florence. I suppose you got the package I sent by mail to the barbershop for you. I have to be careful in buying things downtown because my little niece goes along with me and is so nosy. I had a beautiful shirt for you, but had to give it to my cousin because niece saw me purchase it. Be a good boy and don't forget tomorrow. Yours, devoted. Wow. If that's the love, honey, don't even waste all our brothers and sons' time with y'all. I digress. After learning of the lynching, the woman spent Sunday night in the swamps, crossing over the county line to King Street on Monday to seek the protection of the sheriff there. Chicago Tribune, January 18, 1922. Mob hangs strikebreaker. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, January 17. The body of Jake Brooks, a colored man who was kidnapped from his home here by a mob Sunday night, was found this afternoon hanging from a tree 6 miles south of here. Brooks had been employed at a local packing plant since the calling of the strike of packing house workers. Memphis Commercial Appeal, March the 22nd, March the 23rd, 1922. Lynch Negro brothel owner for hiring white girls. Gulfport, Mississippi, March the 22nd. The body of Alex Smith, an aged Negro, was found suspended from a bridge near here today. Smith was the proprietor of a house of ill fame. Recently, his establishment was raided and 2 white girls discovered therein. New York American, May 19, 1922. Torture. Burn Negro of 15. Davisboro, Georgia, May the 18th. Charles Atkins, Atkins, a Negro, 15, one of 4 taken into custody today in connection with the killing of Mrs. Elizabeth Kitchens, 20, a rural mail carrier, was burned at the stake tonight. The lynching occurred at the scene of the murder and followed an alleged confession from the prisoner. He was tortured over a slow fire for 15 minutes and then, shrieking with pain, was questioned concerning his accomplices. Atkins was said to have confessed his own guilt, but to have exonerated his brother. Members of the mob of 200 then raised the body again, fastened it to a pine tree with trace chains, and relighted the fire. More than 200 shots were fired into the charred body. New York Herald, May 28, 1922. Doubt lynch victims' guilt. Waco, Texas. May 27. Disorder which ruled Waco yesterday and culminated in the burning of the body of Jesse Thomas, Negro, on the public square has subsided, and persons here are wondering whether the guilty man was lynched for the killing of W. Harold Bolton, Bolton, 25, and the attack on his companion, Mrs. Maggie Hayes, 26, 4 miles from here late Thursday. Thomas was seized on the public square by a telegraph operator while hundreds of citizens in a dozen posses were scouting the countryside. The Negro was hurried to the home of Mrs. Hayes, where the woman arose from her bed and screamed, "That's him!" Sam Harris, father of Mrs. Hayes, seized a pistol and killed the Negro. Mrs. Hayes said Thomas told her the Negroes were ready to launch an organized campaign against white women in revenge for the lynching of Negroes. During the night, Waco officers quelled disturbances. A hearse and a coffin arranged by a Negro undertaker to care for Thomas's body were destroyed. Waco is a strong Ku Klux Klan center and has been the scene of numerous riots. Members of the family of the Negro lynched yesterday were today submitting strong evidence to show that the latest mob victim was at home when Mrs. Hayes was attacked. The lynching of Thomas was the 10th accomplished by mobs in this section in the last 3 weeks. New York Call, May 29, 1922. Despite lynching, 5 more are seized for the same crime. Waco, Texas, May 28. Jesse Thomas, Negro who was burned at the stake by a mob here Friday, may not have been the man who murdered Harold Belton and assaulted his girl companion. Authorities feared yesterday, and 5 other Negroes will be held in jail until further investigation has been made. Officers were trying to link the murder of Belton with 2 other unsolved crimes committed here recently. Now, a lot of times it was white men committing these crimes. Yep, it was white men committing these crimes. Black men were in relationships with some of the white women that they were sleeping with. They were in relationships. One brother, they was in a whole 2-year relationship and got caught. And so you see there's a whole bunch of lies. And racial violence in Kentucky, 1865 to 1940, explained that the lies had to be told that the white woman was assaulted and embellished. And that was the number one reason for white men to just go into a rage when the white woman was assaulted or said to have been assaulted. And it explained in that book that most of them were lies made up. In this book right here, most of them are lies made up. Yep, there were white men that was attacking white women. Yep, there was them 2 little girls that were murdered. It was a white man that did that murdered them 2 little girls and blamed it on a black man, and the black man was lynched. But then it came to be found. Brooklyn Citizen, May 6, 1922. Triple lynching follows thrilling Texas manhunt. Kirvin, Texas. That's Kirvin. May 6. 3 colored men were burned here at dawn for the murder of Eula Osley, pretty 17-year-old schoolgirl, whose body was found near here yesterday with 30 stab wounds. The 3 men were tied, one after another, to the seat of a cultivator, driven into the center of the city square, and burned before a mob of 500. Shap, S-H-A-P. Shap Curry, 26. Mose Jones, M-O-S-E. Mose Jones, 44. And John Cornish, 19, were the victims. I thought we read that name before. Oh. Y'all, I do have I did run across my namesake. Jeff Bolden, 1898 in Jackson County, Georgia. I got it in red ink right there. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't know where I got it from, but all 3 worked on the huge ranch of John King, the girl's grandfather. Carrie was burned first. There was some delay in starting in as much as the men maintained their innocence to the last. Third-degree methods failed to bring confessions. They was innocent. The men were not shot, but their bodies were mutilated prior to burning. Ears, toes, and fingers were snipped off. Eyes were gouged out. No organ of the Negroes was allowed to remain protruding. After this preliminary mob vengeance, preachers from the 2 churches which flanked the square came forward and prayed for the salvation of the blacks' souls. As Curry was saturated with oil and set aflame, he chanted over and over again, "Oh Lord, I'm a-coming." As the flames mounted about his body, his chant rose higher and higher until he could be heard throughout the downtown part of town. Curry lost consciousness in 10 minutes and died. John was then roped and dragged over the hot coals, and more wood was thrown on. In 6 minutes, he too was dead. Cornish received the same treatment. Still more fuel was added, and the 3 bodies were roasted in a bonfire that was kept going for 6 hours. The lynchings followed one of the most thrilling manhunts in the history of these parts. Farmers and businessmen of 3 counties joined together to comb every inch of the territory. Creek bottoms were beaten all day, and areas of grassland were flattened. Finally, the 3 men were captured and brought to Fairfield, where a mob gathered and took them from the sheriff after storming the jail. New York call, May 7, 1922. Sheriff holds 2 whites in crime that 3 burned for. Fairfield, Texas, May 6. Cliff and Arnie Powell, 2 white men, were detained today for further questioning in connection with the murder of Eula Osley, for which 3 Negroes were burned at Kirby this morning. Sheriff H.M. Mayo declared that tracks leading from the scene of the murder led to the home of the brothers. The shoes of the Powells fit the tracks, was the terse comment of the sheriff. One of the brothers was arrested yesterday, and the other one surrendered after the mob had taken the Negroes from the jail there, said the sheriff. The King and Powell families had some kind of a fight some time ago, in which one of the Powells was badly cut. This is just another clue we are following up. Miss Osley was granddaughter of John King, wealthiest rancher in these parts. Apart from their family feuding, the Kings and Powells have been involved in legal battles against one another too. New York World, January 2nd, 1923. Finds triple lynch victims were probably innocent. There were 61 lynchings in the United States in 1922, according to records made public today by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Of these, the most ironic was the burning to death of 3 Negroes at Kirby, Texas on May 6th, says the report. The triple lynching was so horrible an affair that the association sent an investigator to the scene. The men were burned at the same stake by a mob of 500 men for their alleged implication in the murder of a 17-year-old white girl. Our investigator, Mr. Dan Kelly, a native white Texan, found that the girl had probably been murdered in the course of a long-standing feud between her family and another white family. New York Globe, June 24th, 1922. Negro about to be lynched tells others to be good. Houston, Texas, June 24th. Warren Lewis, 18-year-old Negro, was hanged at New Dacus, D-A-C-U-S, New Dacus, Montgomery County, after confessing to a mob of 300 persons that he had attacked a young white woman living near the city. Before hanging, the Negro was allowed to make a speech to scores of Negroes who had collected. He advised them to do the right thing. All is quiet tonight over the county. That's how it always is after the lynching. White folks seem drained until the next lynching. Like they done ate. You eat so much on Thanksgiving and Christmas, you just be so full, you can't do nothing, just fall back and sleep for 6-7 hours. That's how it was after the lynchings and stuff. They done sucked so much blood and ate so much black bodies that they just be out. Memphis Commercial Appeal, July the 29th, 1922. Quarrel over blacks' right to cup ends in lynching. Quarrel over blacks' right to cup ends in lynching. Texarkana, Arkansas, July the 28th. A quarrel over a drinking cup between a white street paving foreman and a Negro laborer at Hope, Arkansas, about 35 miles northeast of Texarkana, was followed this afternoon by the lynching of the Negro near Guernsey, 4 miles southwest of Hope. That's Guernsey, Guernsey. John West of Emporia, Kansas, was the Negro lynched. He had been employed on the paving job for about 10 days. The foreman was Henry Worthington of Topeka, Kansas, who had been on the job about 2 weeks. Worthington and West came to blows over the Negro's right to use the road crew's common drinking cup. Both men were arrested and fined in police court for disturbing the peace. Later, West is reported to have been advised to leave town, and he boarded a train at Hope at 1:45 o'clock en route to Texarkana. A mob of about 100 white men proceeded the train to Guernsey, where West was taken off. He was carried a short distance from the track and shot to death, 8 or 9 bullets entering his body. This is the second lynching at Hope within the last 18 months. Brownie Tuggles, Tuggles, having been hanged here on the night of March the 15th, 1921, for an alleged attack on a white woman. Memphis Commercial Appeal, August the 23rd, 1922. Refuses to move, is lynched. Jackson, Mississippi, August the 27th. The body of Parks Banks, a Negro, was found hanging to a tree a few miles from Yazoo City this morning. It was said the Negro had been warned to leave the vicinity. New York News, December the 15th, 1922. Clears Powell before dying. Perry, Florida, December 14th. 2 Negroes were captured here for the murder of a white school teacher, but only one was burned at the stake tonight. Before he died, Charles Wright, Wright, age 21, confessed that he alone had committed the murder of Miss Ruby Hendry, exonerating Albert Young, who was also captured by a party of whites. Following the burning of Wright, Young was turned back to the authorities, and all hands scrambled for souvenirs of the remains. Montgomery Advisor, December 16, 1922. Cleared Negro also lynched. Perry, Florida, December 15. The second of 2 Negroes arrested Friday in connection with the murder of Miss Ruby Hendry, school teacher, the previous Saturday, was lynched last night when Arthur Young was taken from the officers as they were attempting to transfer him to another jail. Charlie Wright was burned at the stake Friday night after a mob of several thousand men had taken him from the officers as they brought the 2 Negroes into town. Wilmington Advocate, Delaware. It's in Delaware. December 16, 1922. Posse lynches innocent man when thwarted in its hunt. Streetman, Texas, December 11th. A posse was unable today to track down a Negro who allegedly attacked the wife of the local sheriff. The posse tracked down the uncle of a Negro who is suspected of the crime and lynched him instead. New York News, December 16, 1922. Texas mob holds lynching bee. Streetman, Texas, December 14th. This town is noted for lynching, or rather, for burning men at the stake, as 3 colored men have met their fate in that manner during the last 3 months. So it was a matter of course for the mob which shot and killed George Gay, a young man residing in Fairfield. Gay, age 25, was accused by the mob of having attacked a young woman who told the police that some man had placed a sack over her head and stuffed her mouth with cotton. No criminal assault was alleged, as the girl said that the man became frightened and ran. A mob of about 1,500 men then gathered, bent on injuring some colored man. Word reached Fairfield, and hundreds of men and women drove to Streetman in buggies. The girl failed to identify Gay when confronted by him. However, he was locked up in a small house under heavy guard pending arrival of bloodhounds from the state penitentiary at Huntsville. But a mob does not wait for bloodhounds. Hence, the guards were overpowered, and Gay was brought out into the highway and shot to death. The mob then set fire to the Streetman Hotel, the only one owned by colored people in the city. The mob seemed bent on doing more damage, but was dispersed by the police. Pittsburgh American, December 29, 1922. 2 lynched as warning to all nigger loafers. Pilot Point, Texas, December 29th. 2 Negroes detained yesterday in connection with the theft of 2 horses were missing from the jail this morning. An unsigned note was posted on the door of the local newspaper reading, "Both niggas got what they had coming. Let this be a warning to all nigger loafers. Niggers get a job or leave town." 2 Negroes disappeared from the jail here in a similar manner several months ago. Nothing has been heard of them since. St. Louis Argus, January 12, 1923. Discovered that lynch victim was dark-skinned white. Shreveport, Louisiana, January 9th. Leslie Leggett, Legget, was kidnapped last Wednesday night by a band of masked white men and riddled with bullets on the outskirts of town. Police Chief Bassar said complaints had reached him earlier that Leggett was in the habit of associating with white women. Leggett's employer, a white grocer named Charles Popper, in whose house Leggett roomed, later said that Leggett was not a Negro, but a swarthy complexion Spaniard. He was a Spaniard, but they said he was a dark-skinned white. Chicago Defender, February 17, 1923. Whites in Georgia displayed parts of Negroes' bodies. Midgeville, Georgia, February 16th. Fingers and ears of 2 Negroes lynched near this city last week are on display in a large bottle filled with alcohol on the counter of the town's only drugstore. An inscription beside the bottle reads, "What's left of the niggers that shot a white man?" Lindsey B. Gilmore, a white grocer, was shot when he took after 2 Negroes unidentified who were caught stealing some cheese and cash from Gilmore's store. A number of witnesses have stated that in the chase, Gilmore was shot by a local officer whose aim was faulty. The Negroes were lynched, nevertheless. New York World, April 20th, 1923. University students help mob lynch janitor. Columbia, Missouri, April 29th. A mob that included many University of Missouri students, both male and female, today lynched James T. Scott, a Negro janitor at the university who had been charged with an attempt to assault the 14-year-old daughter of the head of the German department. About 500 citizens broke into the jail, aided by an acetylene torch, ACETYLENE, and dragged Scott through the streets to the Missouri, Kansas, and Texas Railroad Bridge that spans a deep raven just outside the university section. Professor H.B. Olmsted, father of the intended assault victim, hearing of the lynching, went to the scene and appealed to the mob to let the law take its course. The students and townspeople laughed and booed him down, crying, "Hang him too!" Finally, the professor went to his home and, pilot light, washed his hands of the whole matter. A rope was tied around Scott's neck, the other end secured to the bridge railing. Scott, bareheaded and with his shirt torn, repeatedly denied his guilt. "Before God, I swear I'm innocent," he cried. The girl who was attacked said the attacker had been having trouble with his wife. "My wife never has had trouble with me. Go down and see her. I can prove my innocence." The Negro's pleas brought some hesitation to the mob, but then a young man about 20 stepped forward, lifted Scott to the bridge railing, and dumped him over the side. His neck snapped audibly. Scott's body swayed in midair for nearly a minute as the mob mutely watched it. They ain't got no conscience. And y'all think they asses done healed, done got some therapy? St. Louis Argus, June 15, 1923. Outspoken Negro killed. Palm Beach, Florida, June the 13th. The body of Henry Simmons, Negro riddled with bullets, was found today hanging to a tree on Palm Beach Island. Simmons was a native of the Bahama Islands. He is said to have been an industrious and conscientious worker at a local ice cream plant, but he also made enemies because he was outspoken on the treatment of American Negroes by Southern whites. Baltimore, Afro-American, July 6, 1923. Negro fathers lynched aided son to escape mob. Bronson, Florida, January 4th. Samuel Carter, 46 years old, a respected resident of this place, was shot to death by a mob last night after he had admitted aiding his son to escape a lynch mob. Young Carter was sought by a posse because he was thought to know the whereabouts of an escaped convict charged with assaulting a white woman. The two were seen together several hours before the assault. The elder Carter faced the mob when the leaders knocked on his door, admitted that he had helped to get his son away by hiding him in the back part of his buggy. He led the mob to the point where he said his son jumped out and continued on foot. When bloodhounds were not able to pick up the scent, the members of the crowd vented their anger on the older Carter by riddling his body with bullets. Washington Eagle, August 11, 1923. Mass exodus of Negroes. Yazoo City, Mississippi, August 6th. 10,000 colored people, including men, women, and children, are said to have left the vicinity of Yazoo City since Sunday following the burning at the stake of Willie Minifield in a swamp near here. That's Willie Minifield, Minnifield. The immigrants left in all sorts of conveyances, railroads, automobiles, ox carts, and some on foot. Few of them remained long enough to dispose of their possessions, some even leaving crops on the ground. Minifield, who was found fishing in the swamp, was accused of attacking a woman with an axe at a point 26 miles distant. There was no indication to prove that he was the criminal. When the posse discovered him, he was in company with another man. Both were seized and charged with the crime. Minifield's companion escaped. Angered because he had slipped from their clutches, the mob prepared to burn Minifield. He was dragged to a cleared space in the swamp, and a stake was driven into the ground, to which he was tied. Brushwood was then piled around until only his head was visible. A match was set to the brush, and as the flames crackled around the man, the woods resounded with the shouts of the mob. As the flames died down, leaving the victim's charred skeleton laying upon the embers of the mob took up. As the flames died down, leaving the victim's charred skeleton lying upon the embers, the mob took up the chase for the man who had escaped. Now they're going to get him. They didn't even know if these men were guilty of some crime that they all knew that each other, white men, was very guilty of. Memphis Commercial Appeal, August the 26th, 1923. Reports are conflicting on lynched Negroes' guilt. Jacksonville, Florida, August 25th. The handcuffed, bullet-ridden body of a Negro found on the road shortly after midnight Saturday was identified today as that of Lynn Hart, 34, a farmhand. He had been suspected of being the Negro who, early Friday morning, peeped into the window of a girl at the 3 Mile Ranch. Reports to the sheriff's office, however, were said to indicate that Hart was innocent. Bartow Jones, employer of Hart, told the sheriff he and his son-in-law had seen Hart at 5 o'clock Friday morning at his logging camp, 10 miles from 3 Mile Ranch. According to the girl's story, the man appeared at her window at 4 o'clock. Jones said Hart could not have walked the 10 miles in 1 hour. The girl told 2 deputies that she could not remember what the intruder looked like, Investigation revealed that Hart had been taken from the logging camp about 9 o'clock Friday night by men who came in 2 automobiles and wore badges, posing as peace officers. The 4 Negroes in camp were lined up, and Hart was selected to go with the men in the cars. That was the last he was ever seen alive. St. Louis Argus, November the 9th, 1923. Klan hangs Oklahoma Negro for passing as a white man. Eufaula, Oklahoma. Eufala. Eufaula. Eufaula, Oklahoma, November the 7th. Dallas Sewell, Sewell, Negro, was seized by a group of men wearing garb of the Ku Klux Klan, and after a Klan trial in the barn of a well-known Klansman, was hanged this morning to a barn rafter. Sewell was found guilty of passing for white and associating with white women, and he was therefore put to death in accordance with the Klan Code. Chicago Tribune, October the 10th, 1924. Doubt bludgeoned Negro was a coaster of girls. Doubt bludgeoned Negro was a coaster of girls. It appeared yesterday that the wrong Negro may have been killed by a mob here Wednesday night in the Jewish ghetto section on West 14th Street. 2 girls who had been accosted by a colored man while standing on the sidewalk there yesterday viewed the body of William Bell, Bell, the mob victim, and said that they could not be sure Bell was the man who had approached them. The Negro who accosted us did look very much like Bell. That is, he dressed similarly, but I can't be sure it was Bell, declared Mrs. Bertha Deutsch, 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 1357 Miller Street, one of the girls. Her companion, Miss Betty Greenblatt, 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 1071 Maxwell Street, was equally uncertain when questioned yesterday at police headquarters concerning the mob murder of Bell, who lived at 1057 Frank Street. At 11 o'clock Wednesday night, a Negro is said to have approached the girls who were standing in front of the Sacramento wine shop aboard Shapiro, 1014 West 14th Street, in the midst of the ghetto. "Come with me to my car. I have lots of money," the Negro is reported to have said to the girls. He took hold of Mrs. Deutsch's arms. The girl screamed, and the Negro fled. A crowd, composed principally of foreigners, quickly formed, and Bell, who was standing on the sidewalk with 2 friends near the spot where the girls had screamed, were quickly seized. A mob of 100 men and boys began to kick and beat him. Someone appeared with a baseball bat and delivered a terrific blow to the colored man's head. He collapsed. An ambulance was summoned, but Bell was dead by the time it arrived. Meanwhile, Otto Epstein, night watchman at Shapiro's wine shop, ran to the police station. "There's a race riot," he excitedly told the desk sergeant. "A man's been killed." Thomas Clark, one of Bell's Negro companions, had followed Epstein to the station. "Yes, and you're the one who killed him," he said. Epstein strenuously denied this, but agreed to remain at the station for questioning. At the police investigation yesterday, the 2 girls expressed regret over what had happened. "Who would have thought that such a thing could happen in America?" said Miss Deutsch, a recent immigrant. Racial tension in the ghetto has been running high lately since a number of Negro families moved into the district. Brooklyn Eagle, December 20, 1925. Lynched just minutes after the jury frees him in a murder. Clarksdale, Mississippi, December 19th. Lindsey Coleman, Negro, was lynched here tonight, a few minutes after a jury in circuit court had declared him not guilty of the murder of Grover C. Nicholas, plantation store manager. St. Louis Argus, June the 8th, 1926. Negro lynched for attacking child he only startled. Osceola, Arkansas, June 2nd. Albert Blades, Blades, 22, A Negro visiting here from St. Louis was hanged and his body was burned Wednesday morning for an alleged attack on a small white girl. Following the lynching, doctors who examined the child said that she had not been attacked. There appears to be some question of whether the child wasn't merely frightened by the unexpected appearance of blades in a picnic grounds where she and her classmates were playing. Blades pleaded his innocence to the last. From an editorial in the Bristol Western Press, that's in England, October the 1st, 1926. The English View. The Negro question in the United States is undoubtedly at the root of much of the violence and intimidation that is practiced there. We in Europe can show nothing to match the dementia of a mob that still tears a Negro to pieces or burns him alive for his alleged crimes. It is an odd illustration of the differences between theory and practice of democracy in the United States. New York Sun, October 8, 1926. Bloodthirsty mob lynches 3 members of one family. Aiken, South Carolina, October 8th. A mob early today stormed the Aiken jail, Aiken, seized 3 Negroes, one of them a woman, and shot them to death in a pine thicket just beyond the city limits. The Negroes who were on trial for the murder of Sheriff H. Howard of Aiken County, who was shot to death at the home of the Negroes a year ago last April. A verdict of acquittal had been handed down yesterday for one of the Negroes. The mob victims were Damon and Bertha Lowman, brother and sister, and their cousin Clarence. Damon had been cleared of the murder charge yesterday, and a verdict of not guilty was ordered in his behalf by Judge S.T. Lanham. The acquittal of the other 2 Lowmans was expected shortly. New York Amsterdam News, June 1st, 1927. Lone survivor of atrocity recounts events of lynching. Samuel L. Lowman, whose wife, son, daughter, and nephew were murdered by white people in Aiken, South Carolina a year ago last Thursday night, told his story to a meeting of the National Negro Development Union at Manhattan Cation, CASION, 155th Street and 8th Avenue. Mr. Lowman, soft-spoken and stoop-shouldered, contrasted sharply to the brightly uniformed members of the Universal African Royal Guards who flanked him on the platform. The old man held his audience spellbound as he recited events which led up to one of the South's most horrible multiple lynchings. His story went back to April 25th, 1925, when Sheriff H. Howard of Aiken appeared with three of his deputies at Lowman's cabin 13 miles from Aiken. Neither Lowman nor any member of his family had ever been in any kind of trouble, and none of them knew the sheriff, nor did the sheriff know them. The sheriff had come on a routine whiskey check. As the sheriff and his deputies approached the cabin, Lowman's wife, Annie, and his daughter, Bertha, were out back working. Mrs. Lowman was making soap. Bertha was sweeping the yard. Bertha looked up, saw the 4 men who were dressed in civilian clothes, and was terrified. 2 weeks earlier, other white men had come to the cabin and whipped her brother Damon for no reason at all. Softly, she spoke to her mother, who agreed it would be best to go inside the house. The white men saw the women begin to move. They drew their revolvers and started running towards them. Sheriff Howard and Bertha Lowman reached the back steps of the house at the same time. Bertha screamed. With his pistol butt, the sheriff struck Bertha in the mouth. Mrs. Lowman saw this, heard her daughter scream, and picked up an axe. As she started to her daughter's assistance, one of the sheriff's deputies emptied his gun into the old woman, and she fell to the ground lifeless. Damon and Clarence Lowman, son and nephew of Mrs. Lowman, were working in a field nearby and heard Bertha scream. Damon secured a revolver from the shed and Clarence a shotgun. 2 of the deputies started firing at Damon, and he returned the fire. What Clarence did is not clear. In a few seconds, the sheriff was dead and Bertha had been shot twice in the chest, just above her heart. Clarence and Damon were also wounded. Mrs. Loman emphasized last night that at no time did anyone realize that the white men were sheriffs. They wore no badges and gave no sign of authority. 5 members of the Loman family were arrested and placed in the Aiken jail. Mr. Loman had been away at a mill having meal ground. He came home to find himself a widower with 4 of his children and a nephew in jail. 3 days later, a fraction of a quart of liquor was found in a bottle in the Loman backyard. For this, Mr. Loman was sentenced to 2 years on the chain gang, charged with possession of illegal liquor. Mr. Loman emphatically stated last night that the liquor had been planted in his backyard in order to frame him. Bertha, Damon, and Clarence, whose ages were then respectively 18, 22, and 15, were tried for the sheriff's murder and swiftly found guilty. The men were sentenced to death, and Bertha was given life imprisonment. The 3 appealed their conviction, and the South Carolina Supreme Court found that their trial had been unfair, and a new trial was ordered. It was during the second trial, after Damon had been acquitted, and it appeared that Bertha and Clarence would be freed too, since the sheriffs had failed to notify the Lomans that they were officers of the law, and the Lomans had every right to assume they were intruders, that the 3 were removed from the Aiken jail and lynched by a mob. The date was October 8, 1926. On that day, the 3 were removed from the Aiken jail, driven to a tourist camp a mile and a half from town, liberated and told to run. As they started off, shots rang out and they fell. The boys were dead. Bertha was wounded. She thrashed around on the ground, begging piteously for life. A mobster was quoted as saying, "She's bleeding like a goat." This caused much laughter among his comrades. More shots were pumped into the girl. At last, one found a vital spot, and with a spasmodic quiver, Bertha died. During this period, Mr. Loman was serving out his 2-year sentence on the chain gang. On February 23rd of this year, he was released. He came immediately to Philadelphia, the home of his other children. Except for his watch, the old man left all his possessions, including a new Ford, down south. Mr. Loman said last night that the real killer of Sheriff Howard was one of his own deputies who wanted his boss's job. Mr. Loman gave his name, but libel law, L-I-B-E-L, libel, L-I-B-E-L, libel law prevents our reprinting it here. It was the same man who later led the lynch mob that killed his children and nephew, Mr. Loman said. They were the only ones who could prove he was the murderer of Sheriff Howard. At the end of the evening, ushers passed around the hat, and $35 was raised as a purse to aid the old man. Chicago Defender, March 12, 1927. Darrow forced to flee after anti-lynch speeches. Mobile, Alabama, March 11. Clarence Darrow, D-A-R-R-O-W, internationally known criminal lawyer of Chicago, champion of oppressed people, and advocate of free speech in America, was given an example of Southern chivalry early this week when he was forced to leave a hall where he had spoken here, under the protection of a squad of riflemen and special police. He was menaced by a mob, and although ill and in Alabama for his health, was compelled to leave hastily for Chattanooga, Tennessee, where he would rest a few days before returning home to Chicago. Mr. Darrow's only crime was condemning lynchings and other inhumane practices for which Alabama is notorious. He spoke to 2 audiences, one composed of white people at the Lyric Theater and one to members of our race at a school. In both speeches, he stressed the importance of mutual respect and cooperation through tolerance and less mob activity on the part of whites, and independence and backbone on the part of our people. Immediately following the address to whites, he was rushed from the theater back to the home of his host at Fairhope, where he has been recuperating from a severe illness from several months, and was prevailed upon to board a train at noon Tuesday for the North. He was informed that if he remained in the state, even the militia would be unable to make his stay safe. He was denounced from pulpit and by the press and described as a meddling troublemaker from Illinois. It was during his lyric theater speech that the first intimidation of the temper of an Alabama mob expressed itself. Speaking to what he believed was an audience of the best people of the South, he had just declared that lynchings are a disgrace, not only to the South, but to the North and the entire United States. Suddenly, there was a cry, "Lynch him!" But he continued his talk, ignoring the interruption until it became impossible for him to continue. Then, as he started from the theater, the mob spirit became apparent. Women, children, and others recognized that Mobile's business, professional, and social world were conspicuous in the mob that followed him through the street to his car. Yeah, men, women, and kids. Police with drawn weapons surrounded him, and Mrs. Darrow holding the mob at bay. As they passed through the crowd, handbills signed by the Ku Klux Klan and denouncing him as an advocate of social equality were showered upon them. In commenting upon the affair before leaving Mobile, Mr. Darrow stated that he had only told the truth. He urged both races to work for a better understanding through the spirit of fairness and justice for all. In his speech at the school, he is reported to have said in part, "I can't help you. You'll have to help yourselves. But I advise an attitude of defiance towards the white man who calls himself your friend." How has he manifested his friendship? By hanging and burning you, by making you do his work and use his back door, refusing you to enter the best hotels and use the best coach in the train, and making you sit in the rear of the streetcar. The only front place the white man has ever given you is in the battle line. There you can stop the bullets, but when you return home, you can't even use the sidewalks. You have to use the road. What can the colored man do to help himself? I see you pray, but I don't see why. Your God must be a white man. That's what he said. Your God must be a white man, considering the way he treats you. No doubt there will be a Jim Crow law in your heaven when you get there. Didn't I just tell y'all black asses? Now you got another white man telling black people, because he went there and he spoke to white people and he spoke to black people. But this is what he was telling black people. I see you pray, but I don't see why. Your God must be a white man, considering the way he treats you. No doubt there will be a Jim Crow law in your heaven when you get there. Get your black ass on. Go on up there if you want to. Yeah, you ain't going to remember a thing. Joe Wayne, you're going to be there forever and ever and ever. You can sing. I heard you sing, Sweet Land of Liberty. But I don't see how you can. I don't sing it because I know it's not true. This was a white man telling black people this. Dogs gonna literally have to stand up and tell y'all black asses to stop being a damn fool and a dummy for white folks. But you can work and gain a place for yourself if you can do better work than the white man. You are being recognized, and you have some friends who are not afraid to sit at a table with you. Clarence Darrow, who is about 65 years old, has long been known as a friend of our people. He takes the position that the white people of America are injured by the lynchings, peonage, and segregation in the South, as are the people discriminated against. White people ain't injured. White people are fucking, inhumane, clanimals. He first aroused the enmity of the South in 1925 when he went to Dayton, Tennessee, to defend John T. Scopes, a young school teacher who was being tried for violating the Tennessee law against the teaching of evolution. In this case, he opposed the late William Jennings Bryan, Bryn, the idol of the South, who fought valiantly against evolution, but was never known to raise his voice against lynchings. Darrow is also an opponent of capital punishment and has fought consistently against it. Our race is the chief victim of this practice, south of the Mason and Dixon line. New York Times, June 14, 1927. White attempts in vain to rescue victims. Louisville, Mississippi, June 13. Two Negro brothers, Jim and Mark Fox, accused of having slain their sawmill superintendent after an argument over work hours, was seized by a mob early this morning, paraded through the streets of Louisville, and then saturated with gasoline and burned to death at a telephone pole a short distance from town. The terrified screams of the Negroes touched one member of the mob who attempted to extinguish the blaze a moment after it had started, but the would-be rescuer was seized by others and dragged away. New York World, November 12, 1927. Courthouse is lynch gallows. Columbia, Tennessee, November 12th. A courthouse balcony became a gallows when Henry Choate, Choate, 18-year-old Negro accused of attacking a white girl, was hanged by a mob here yesterday. One end of a rope was fixed around Choate's neck and the other end secured to a balustrade. Choate was then thrown over the side. The courthouse was festooned with red, white, and blue bunting for yesterday's Armistice Day celebration. Armistice. New York Times, January 12, 1930. Foresees end of lynching. Atlanta, Georgia, January 11th. Lynching would be a lost crime by 1940. Something for scientists to study and the rest of us to remember with unbelief. And it would be wiped out by radio, good roads, and the newspapers, according to Will W. Alexander, director of the Commission on Interracial Cooperation. In 1919, when the commission was born, 83 persons was lynched, said Mr. Alexander. This year, the records show but 10, and those in only 5 states. The figures are startling when one finds 1,726 lynched between 1885 and 1894, our earliest periods. All told, 4,377 persons have been lynched since 1885, a good-sized town. 10 years from now, we will be wondering how it ever happened. No. White folks will be wondering. Black folks, we know how the fuck it happened. White folks know how it happened too. They just like to play dumb. They like to play like they ignorant. We don't know. We never knew. No, we don't have that information. Columbus, Georgia, Inquirer Sun, May 10, 1930. My mama used to love the Inquirer. Unable to blast into jail, mob burns it to kill Negro. Sherman, Texas, May 9th. A mob today burned the $60,000 Grayson County Courthouse, cremating George Hughes, Hughes, Negro, after successfully attempting to seize him from officers. This was in Georgia. Hughes, who had pleaded guilty to assaulting a white woman, died in a vault in the courthouse in which he had been placed for safety by Texas Rangers and local officers when the mob stormed the building during the trial, crying for his life. Driven back 3 times by officers who hurled tear gas bombs and fought with fists and clubs, but did not shoot into the crowd, the mob finally set fire to the courthouse. An earlier attempt to dynamite the structure had failed. 3 youthful leaders of the mob were seriously wounded in a clash with the guardsmen. 2 of them were shot and 1 may die. Jed Brown, 18, was shot in the chest and physicians held little hope for his recovery. Several of the guardsmen were struck by stones, bottles, and missiles hurled by the mob in its attempt to storm the county jail. Meanwhile, another crowd battled a detachment of guardsmen on the square when they attempted to drive the crowd from the grounds of the wrecked courthouse. A Negro quarter of the city was deserted. The Negro quarter of the city was deserted, and appeals were sent to neighboring towns to rush police officers here to assist Sherman authorities. The flame of an acetylene torch was directed against the vault by the mob, which did not believe Hughes had burned to death. Previously, 2 attempts to blast open the vault failed. 7 sticks of dynamite were placed under the vault door and exploded, but failed to open the door. A can of blasting powder was set off, and this explosion also failed to shake the structure. Hughes, who had pleaded guilty to charges of assaulting a white woman, had been placed in the vault for safety by Texas Rangers and local officers when the mob stormed the courthouse, crying for his life. After the guardsmen had repulsed the mob at the jail, machine guns were set up at strategic points around the building. Sheriff Vaughn said the Negro was given his choice of running for his life after the courthouse fire began or being shut in the vault, and that he chose the vault. When last seen alive by the officers, he was sitting on a chair in the vault, his head bowed upon his folded arms. Columbus, Georgia, Inquirer Sun, May 11, 1930. Lynch fever running high. Sherman, Texas, May 10th. Culminating an orgy of mob madness, a mob early today set fire to a Negro drugstore and nearby erected a funeral pyre for George Hughes, 41-year-old Negro attacker of a white woman who was suffocated or otherwise killed in a fire which destroyed the Sherman courthouse yesterday. The body was recovered at 11:45 o'clock last night from the vault in the courthouse. It was dragged through the narrow opening made by an acetylene torch and dynamite blast, and a chain wrapped around it. So they got his body anyway. When the men who went into the vault shoved the body through the hole and dumped it into the ground 2 stories below, women screamed and clapped their hands, and a great cheer went up from the mob. The chain was fastened to the rear of an automobile, and it was started through the streets toward the jail, dragging the body. As the maddened mob cheered wildly, the state rangers and guardsmen remained at the jail, not attempting interference as the dynamiting was in progress at the courthouse ruins. New York Sun, May 10, 1930. Texas mob runs amok, burns blocks of Negro homes. Sherman, Texas. As an aftermath to the burning of the Sherman courthouse, this was a multiple story of George because they had more than one newspaper. Sherman, Texas, May 10th. As an aftermath to the burning of the Sherman courthouse here yesterday, in which George Hughes, alleged Negro rapist, was killed, 3 blocks of Negro dwellings were burned by a raging mob here early this morning. The mob, after seizing Hughes' body from the ruins of the courthouse, chained it to the rear of an automobile and started for the Negro section. Through the streets, the mob dragged the body, and the journey ended at a large Negro store, which housed a drugstore, a beauty shop, undertaker, a tailor, and other enterprises. A tree was nearby. The body was strung up to the tree and boxes piled underneath. A fire was lighted, then the drugstore was set on fire. After virtually destroying the drugstore, the mob surged down a 3-block section of the Negro district. A stampede of humanity run amok. Clubs, bricks, bottles, and fists were wielded against windows and doors. Virtually every store was entered and its interior looted and wrecked. Near 2 a.m., most of the mob dispersed, and harassed officials believed that most of their grief was over. Just then, a fresh fire broke out, and the overtaxed fire department went clanging again into the Negro district. About 700 white persons in knots of 20 to 50 each were on the streets at that hour. Every Negro had disappeared from the Negro section, even from districts which was not burning. The frightened men, women, and children were reported to be huddling in brush thickets on the outskirts of Sherman. Later this morning, hundreds of curious persons invaded Sherman. Highways were covered by solid strings of automobiles, bringing visitors to this city, which, because of its numerous colleges, churches, and fine public buildings, is known as the Athens of Texas. Chicago Defender, May 17, 1930. Added facts on lynching. Sherman, Texas, May 16. Millions of Americans have read about the recent conflagration which took place here in connection with the lynching of George Hughes. Nowhere in the white press has mention been made of these two important facts. One, first, Hughes had not confessed to the rape he was charged with. As a matter of fact, a jury had just been sworn in, and witnesses were beginning to testify when mob violence interrupted the trial. Hughes claimed he was innocent. Second, the lynching and burnings took place on the anniversary of the birthday of the abolitionist John Brown. And you know John Brown is in heaven right now telling white folks that they wrong. Telling white folks, how dare y'all trap. You still got black folks in heaven. And you're trapping them and lynching them right here in heaven. A place that's supposed to be a paradise. Yeah, John Brown can't leave heaven. He's in heaven right now telling white folks to let them go. Why you got them here in heaven that you done made up and you done programmed and indoctrinated all of these black people. John Brown. But see, John couldn't free our ancestors from heaven. He wanted to, but he didn't have that power to free them from heaven. He was in heaven. He's still in heaven telling white folks that they asses is wrong for what they doing. It's us. We the only ones that can free us and our ancestors. That's why I told them they don't have to stay in heaven. They can leave if they want to. They can leave. Now, like Brother Telly that loved it, his white girlfriend, baby mama, and she ended up shooting him. Well, he would want to stay in heaven with white folks. He would want to stay in heaven. So maybe when she make it there, whenever that is, I don't know. But he wouldn't have been one that want to leave. And then he couldn't because his wings were clipped. He willingly went to heaven. He willingly went to heaven, even though he didn't have the information at that time. This was recently when he was when she shot him, murdered him, homicide, however they calling it and stuff. But she killed him. But he had new information. He seen all the uprisings and the awakenings that's been happening. That's why he was so disrespectful to black women and said that, you know, in the past few years, he that's got so disrespectful and rude to black women and said that he'd rather fuck a dog than fuck a black woman. And the dog got to be white. That's what he said. So see, the things that he said about black women, he shouldn't have been saying stuff like that. It wasn't cause for. I know some folks, well, that ain't cause for what you saying, face. The fuck if it ain't. The fuck if it ain't. I got every right to condemn this. I do. And can't nobody tell me I don't. Sure can't. But anyway, I digress. That's it. We ain't reading no more tonight. We're going to get us some gratitude. And we're gonna get us some good singing, some knowledge. And we're going to process this tonight until we come back and read and learn some more. Gratitude, y'all. Keep you some gratitude with you. I always keep you some gratitude. Okay? Gratitude going to bring you more abundance, more prosperity, more safety on your behalf. Gratitude shields you from negativity. Can't nothing touch you when you're grateful. Everybody throwing red daggers at you, side eyes, hating on you, and I hope you don't get that. I hope you don't get that. I wish you fall and break a leg. Saying all kind of shit towards you. Honey, be grateful. So all that bullshit can just ride right on off your back. Just stay grateful. Can't none of it touch you when you grateful. When you grateful, you got a shield around you. Can't nothing penetrate it. Nope. Gratitude makes you at least 25% happier. See, you don't need nobody to make you happy, Black America. You make yourself happier. We be happy to see people that we love and we like. We have a good time together. We be happy to see them people. You know, we love our spouses, our children, our parents. We love them, you know, but they can't be the source of your happier. You got to be the source of your happier. Children grow up, move away. Parents got their own lives to live and stuff. You got your own life to live. People fall out of love and stuff, fall in love with somebody else. People want to move, you know, relocate. Some folks pass away. You must be your only source for being happier. And you can be long as you got some gratitude. As long as you got your gratitude with you, honey, I don't care what it is you're grateful for. It could be your paycheck. Honey, you grateful for that paycheck right there, honey, and it's going to make you much more happier. It's yours. You can already start planning what you're going to do with it, but it's already gone on the rent. You know, I feel you on that. But, you know, just keep your gratitude. It's going to make you 25% happier. Hey, at least your rent paid, right? I'm just saying. Gratitude rewires your brain, eliminates stress, and it heals you. We got so much healing out here just for the taking, y'all. Yep. Gratitude improves your sleep, boosts your self-esteem and your performance. Gratitude enhances the law of attraction. Whatever you grateful for, honey, you finna get more of that coming. Whether it's your paycheck, food, your food stamp, whatever it is, you finna get more of that abundance because, see, it's the same. It's the same in likeness, same and similar. And when you grateful for it, oh, you finna get an overload. Yes, honey. And gratitude, and improves your relationships. Don't nobody want to be with somebody that's always negative and ain't got nothing to say. Hell, if you're going to complain all the time, hell, at least be doing some complaining about what Black people done went through. What Black people done suffered and endured right here. Ain't nobody care. I know I didn't either. I was asleep for 43 years, honey. I was asleep for 43 years. I thought we was motherfucking okay. Then I wake up. After all that time, we ain't okay. We ain't been okay in a long motherfucking time, and we ain't gonna be okay until we start doing the knowledge, learning, thinking. All of these white women that y'all feel like, oh no, they could never be misses. Yes, the fuck it can. Yes, it can. Let that situation set itself back up again. You see all them fires out there, the United States going through all these upsets and issues and stuff. Let that smoke turn the other way. And watch white America don't come down on y'all Black asses like they used to doing. Of course, now we would never do them things, and that could never happen. Don't never say never. You don't know white folks. White folks claim they don't know white folks. I'm telling you, I do. I know this ain't been healed. They ain't got no therapy. Dr. George DeGrasse said their asses ain't had a lick of therapy. And we ain't had no healing. We ain't had no healing. Everybody know we motherfucking traumatized. Sure do. Everybody know white folks is fucking psychotic. But guess what? White folks trying to act like they A-okay. Honey, we didn't do this. We weren't here. This ain't got nothing to do with us. And yeah, leave us on out of it and stuff, honey. But this is their motherfucking asses. This is in them. It's not in us. And see, now today you see it. White folks trying to act like they so threatened. Black folks is such a threat to them. White folks are a threat to every person on this planet. It ain't a being on this planet that, honey, can be safe with white folks. Animals either. It ain't a mother. Come out with a new animal. Let a new animal manifest itself and see if white folks don't try to take it out. I'm just saying. All the projecting they've done on my people, I can tell the motherfucking truth about it. I ain't got no qualms about it like some of my people do. Some of my people do. But see, it don't matter to me what white folks say, do, and stuff. I want us to come to a realization between ourselves and leave their asses alone. You stop fucking with them, Black America, maybe hell, they're going to take themselves out. Quit having babies with them. Quit mingling and marrying with white folks. We ain't supposed to do that. You done read your whole Bible. What the Bible I bought for y'all asses? You done read that whole Bible. You know it say you supposed to come out from under them. You ain't supposed to mingle with them. You ain't supposed to marry with them. You ain't supposed to have babies with them. But see, your ass is hard-headed. Oh, we can do that. We can get married now. We can mingle now. Ain't nobody had no. I bet y'all asses with your interracial relationships. I bet you ain't even talk to your significant other, your baby mama, your baby daddy. You ain't even talk to their mamas, their grandmamas, their granddaddies, and great uncles and shit. And find out hell shit. Was any one of y'all motherfucking asses right here at the lynching of Willie Brown? I'll pull this picture out on your ass because I know y'all black asses ain't asked they motherfucking asses nothing. Because your ass a fucking coward. You can't stand up for your own people. You can't. You cannot stand up for your own people. As sure as we may see your last name in this book, your mother's maiden name, your daddy's maiden name in this book right here, you still can't do it. You can't get your black ass up and speak to your insignificant other, your significant other and stuff. Y'all been together 10 years, 15, 20 years, 25 years, got 6, 7 babies, 9 great-grandbabies, and your ass still can't ask her motherfucking ass, hey, Sabrina, now, when we met, didn't you say you and your family were from Arkansas, Elaine, Arkansas, somewhere down up in there? Nah, we went from Elaine. We were from Blythe. Well, Blythe done had some goddamn lynchings too. And y'all ass ain't talked to them about nothing. You ain't asked them about nothing. Now you got these mixed babies and shit. Your mixed babies is in with these white Klansmen and shit. They don't know either. They don't know. But I bet you them grandmamas and them granddaddies, them great aunties and uncles, them motherfuckers know. Yeah, they just sat back. Yeah, Sabrina brought them home. Now, honey, you know Sabrina. Karen ain't gonna have shit to do with that, but Sabrina will bring a black man home. You know they don't like that shit. That's why they don't tell Sabrina everything. They tell Karen everything. And Karen and Brad and Ken and Becky, they tell them everything. They show them where the souvenirs is at. When you go up in the attic, no, they not here. They ain't at this house. You got to go over to Auntie house. Go over to Big Auntie house and go up in the attic and look in them boxes. You'll see souvenirs, photo albums where they were taking pictures of the lynchings and shit. Sending them out for Christmas cards, postcards. You'll look in that box up there, look in that big trunk. You'll see all kind of souvenirs. Fingers, toes, ears. That they asses still keeping. But see, Karen know what all that is. Sabrina don't know that. They didn't tell Sabrina that. See, what happened was Sabrina was gonna be named after Karen. Yeah. Sabrina was supposed to be Sharon. But when Sabrina was born and that black woman delivered, Sabrina grabbed that black woman's finger like that. All them white folks damn near fainted. Because Sabrina grabbed that white woman's finger, and then a few days after that and stuff, they just began to notice every time the black people come around and stuff, the little baby get to smiling and her eyes get to lighting up. So they knew it was something different with that baby. They didn't name Sabrina Sharon. They named her ass Sabrina. Yeah, she wasn't finna be named after Karen no more because they knew she was different. Yeah, they changed her whole name. Yep. So did they change that little girl whole name and stuff. And Sabrina do have an affinity, for black people. She do love black people. She got a soft spot for black people and stuff, but her ass ain't never stood up for black folks. Now, she couldn't put together them dots, 2 and 2 equal 4, when she heard all that screaming in the house and stuff late at night and stuff. When she heard, put together all the, well, why was this and why was that? Why did I find a little girl bloody shoes and stuff outside and little stuff like that? But she couldn't put it together. She didn't know what it was. But hell, it was right there in her face. It was right there in her face. who her family is. So Sabrina is daft. Sabrina don't know. Yeah, she kind of slow when it comes to stuff like that. But your black ass, your ass should know better. And you should know if you're gonna be with interracial in an interracial relationship and shit going this forward from here on, your ass need to start asking some questions. And your little mixed babies and stuff. I know that nobody ever think it. I didn't either. But honey, you having babies with mixed out of your race, black people, black man and black woman, it's being weaponized against your black ass now. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said that white people, see, they scared that they gonna die out. They worried about white genetic survival. Trying to have babies any kind of damn way they can have a baby, they trying to do it. Because see, after 3 generations, it can wipe the black generation right on out there, wipe your black ass right on out. Like you wasn't even there. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe 50, 60, 70 years, 150 years, maybe a black baby will pop up. Then they be like, oh, where does black baby come from? And then they look back and back and back. They might find your ass. But until then, Now all they got to do is that great aunt, that great aunt, them old racist ass aunties and uncles and shit. When that baby go visit, just tell that baby, just teach it a couple of times to get you a savior, get you a white man. See, anytime they decide to do this training, this indoctrination, this programming of y'all mixed kids and stuff, whether they in the 1st grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, well, yeah, then that's what it's going to be. They're going to look at that like, yeah, we do want to be better off in life. And we want to be able to go on vacations and have a good life. You know, we don't want to be struggling like black folks. Oh, no. And see, that right there is what's going to turn the tide. And y'all going to be like, oh, well, she can love who she want to love, Face. That's my daughter. She can love who she want to love, honey. That's because your ass don't know nothing. You supposed to be trying to live on, black man. You supposed to be trying to live on. And not only that, because, I'm not saying all black men are, exceptional. Because we all fucked up. I'm not saying that all black men are exceptional. I'm just saying, who the fuck should live on? Right here. Who should live on? They motherfucking ass? You mean to tell me you actually gonna give them a chance to live on instead of you making sure you live on? So I'm just saying, yeah. Don't make no sense. And now you feel like, yeah, well, if I do tell my baby to love who you want to love, or I tell my baby to find you a good black man, then I'm not giving her the free will. Hell, you didn't have free will either because you didn't have the information you need. You didn't have the information you need. Shut up, I'll be in there in a minute. But I'm just saying, think about your lineage. Your lineage. What's best for life? What's best for life? Don't fool yourself. Black America now, thinking that things is different now, Face. Things is different now. White people's is changed. And we don't see all of this going on because it's still happening, honey. It's still happening. I advise you to find you some black media. Find you some black media. I've called a few of them out on here and stuff so they can let you know that ain't nothing changed. When racial violence in Kentucky, 1865 to 1940, told the story of how the state of Kentucky compelled to white men and the women and the boys that was out there that y'all gonna have to stop lynching black men. Stop lynching their bodies and having motherfucking bonfires right here in the middle of the street. And then dragging their body down through the whole town. Just through black neighborhoods. We just read it a few nights ago in this book. White men burned brother, tied his body to the back of the car and drove through the black neighborhood. What did it say? 2 hours, 3 hours, just up and down all the black neighborhood. Black people in their house, the blinds closed, and it was dark. Black people down under the windows like this, right here trying to act like they not at home. And no, here they come through here again. Ain't no telling what they were finding for days after that. Pieces of brother falling off the car and stuff. Just fucking cannibalistic. I don't see how y'all can even act like everything is okay. Everything is normal. Well, we ain't got nothing to worry about. Well, we ain't like that down here. Things is different now. I trust my white friends and stuff. I ain't got no problem going to heaven. Honey, I've been waiting to get to heaven for 63 years. And your ass gonna spend the rest of eternity there when you get there too. Trying to follow white folks. But I digress. Hey, y'all got your own mind. I'm just telling you my opinions. These is in my opinions now. Now, I took what Dr. Francis Wilson and Dr. Joy DeGry and Dr. Deborah Blair said they ass crazy. Shit, Dr. Ray Hagins said, hell, religion is a cultural, psycho-philosophical vehicle of enslavement. You know, I'm just saying, they saying they ass crazy. I'm reading that they ass is inhumane. This ain't no humans doing this. If white folks know their ass been taken over, possessed by something else, then they need to make it clear. They need to say it and distinguish who that something else is. Because for me, all I know is that, hey, they ain't black. They ain't black people. And they trust they got you thinking that black people is the worst, the dangerous, the most laziest, the biggest threat out there. No, we ain't. No, because of what happened. Tell your kids to quit bullying our kids. Tell your kids to set their motherfucking asses down and learn how to be humble. Learn how to share the world. This ain't y'all world. You done destroyed everything. We literally got to get out the way because cosmic energy finna come down on y'all asses, white people. Don't stand behind me. Do not stand behind me because I'll reach up there and turn the sun up. I'll turn the sun up on your ass. But anyway, I digress. Let's finish this so we can get us some rest, process this, and yeah. How your body reacts to singing. See, keep a song in your heart too. I'm going to leave you with just keep some gratitude and keep a song in your heart. That's it. And that's all. It's going to help you a lot. Because you know, when you sing in joyful, expressive songs, y'all, it can nourish your heart. Honey, it will balance your emotions and uplift your spirit. Now, I ain't talking about, going to get some of this later music right here. I'm talking about go back to your mama, your grandmama music. I'm talking about you take your ass back to some Al Green, some James Ingram, some Stephanie Mills, I don't know, some Zapp. I'm going back. Go back to your mama, your daddy's music. That's where you're going to get the music that's going to be joyful and expressive, going to give you goosebumps. The shit that you playing today, I might hear one song a month. And I'd be like, who is that? And it might just be one song on the whole damn CD. So it really ain't even worth it to me. No, can't nothing come to this. Can't nothing match our music. That's why they took the fundamental music away, the music that mattered, the music that had messages in it, y'all. You got to get it back. I'm just trying to tell you where to look at here. Look at some DeBarge. DeBarge, yes. Go back to your mama and your grandmama's music. Singing helps expand your lungs and it improves your oxygen intake. And I think, since I took that breathing class, that we all breathing like white folks. Yes, we is, honey. We looking like white folks, talking like white folks, dressing like white folks, honey. We ain't hardly got no identity of our own. White folks done sucked all our swag. Done sucked everything, your identity. They know your whole regimen. White folks know your routine from Monday to Sunday. Sure do. Some of them know your kids' routines. They tell their kids. Yep. Sure can. I'm just saying, Black America, shit, what have you done to yourself? Yeah. Singing helps regulate emotions like frustration, anger, and stress right on out of your liver, honey. I didn't know it was accumulating in your liver. No. So, to tell you the truth, you got frustration, anger, stress, and all them pills your ass taking, accumulating in your liver. No wonder, my sister, your ass is so evil. Can't nobody say nothing to you. Okay? So now you know, brother and sister, when you see us out there and we always got that negative vibe and always ready to complain, always frowning and stuff, ain't nothing even wrong. You over there by yourself. How you over there frowning, mad at the world, and your ass already by yourself? That's because of all this anger, this frustration, this stress, not being able to see a way out. See, and that's weighing on us. Y'all got to help us out there. Shit, let sister know if you ain't, too timid of her and stuff. And you know her a little bit, she know you a little bit, shit. Break the ice. Ask her what's her favorite song. If she can't think of one, you pick one. Start singing Good Times. Everybody love Good Times. I'm just saying, break the ice. We ain't got to be scared of us no more. We don't need to be afraid of us no more. Now, them hotheads out there, I advise you to leave them alone. They ain't for you. They is not for your ass. The hotheads that's out there, they for our brothers that can reach them, that can resonate with them and let them know what they need to know. But me and you, leave them hotheads to the brothers that can handle them. The brothers that can walk up to them and change their whole life. And it ain't going to be no song that's going to do that. A song ain't going to reach in there with that. I'm just saying, Yeah, And your kidneys, y'all, this is it. Singing can strengthen kidney energy by fostering vocal expression. Honey, when you hitting them high notes like James Ingram, oh, honey, your kidneys is too. Your body is literally healing. And did you know music? Music is the only activity that activates your whole brain, honey. Sex don't even activate your whole brain. Eating food, your favorite food, honey, your 7-course meal you love to make, honey, that don't even activate your whole brain. Nope, music does. See, and these people, they knew that. And they done took music away from us. It's time for us to get it back. Music got to be one of your boundaries. Yeah. You can't come around me playing that bullshit. You showing the fuck can't, and you can't get in my car. I don't want you in my house. I ain't coming to yours either. Sure ain't. Yeah, you got to protect your boundaries now, Black America. It's time for us to set new boundaries all across the board and stuff. This is a new era. It's a new fight, basically. It's an old fight, but it's got some new corner to it. I'm just saying, with that, I want us to let's just process this, honey. We ain't got much longer in this book right here. I'll say maybe 3 days. Look at all them names right there. Look at all of these names. And these right here is names that we don't have a story to in the book. We don't have a story to them. Oh, no. I don't see no names in here that we don't read about and stuff. Macbeth. Oh, look, I did highlight some in the back. I see my hometown. Yep. Robert Bruce. And he was lynched in 1910. Yep, that was in Tiftonville. There was a John Gregston in Union City, March the 21st, 1913. Oh, honey, yes. It's all over. Wherever you from, you look it up. Google it. Chat GPT and ask. Any lynchings been going on here where I'm from? Find out what your history is, because we're going to be reading. I don't know if the ancestors intend for me to read every state, but if they do, that's what I'm going to do. We'll be reading every state because we're going to get some healing for us. We're going to get some healing for us. I don't care if it's just the beginning of it and you can take the rest of it and finish the healing yourself. We need our healing before we go any further into this with white folks. We got to be on one accord with each other, Black America. I'm just saying, and I'm going to let y'all go with that right there because I said we weren't going to be here all night. But I love you to life, and I will see y'all on the next one. Yeah. Oh, the theft of melanin. Well, you said melatonin. I always say the theft of melanin. Yeah. Why are you still living in the past? Are you aware that in Africa they are still selling Black people to the global slave trade? Honey, I'm not in Africa. I'm motherfucking in America right here. Why are you here worrying about what I'm doing? Why are you here worrying about what I'm doing? Why are you here worrying about what I'm doing? Why you ain't on your channel doing what the fuck you supposed to do? What's your name again? Xander Crew? Who the fuck told you to come here with that bullshit? Is that what you do? You taking your tired ass around on people platforms, seeing what they doing. And anybody that's trying to stand up to the bullshit Black people done went through, you taking your ass around trying to cause discord and stuff. You better get your ass out of here and don't bring your ass back in here no more, Xander. I'm going to let my ancestors know that your motherfucking ass is one of them that's running around trying to stop them getting justice for what happened to them. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. As far as I'm concerned, you might be a bot. I hope you is. Because if I tell them that it's you And I know that may be your alias. Xander probably your alias, but my ancestors gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. So y'all better stop motherfucking playing with fire. Don't bring your ass in here on my platform where I'm at talking your bullshit, Xander. Because I'm not the one for it now. I will let my ancestors know your motherfucking ass is the goddamn reason why they ain't never got no justice to this day. And you still don't want them to get no justice. So you better get your little ass on up out of here. You sure better, honey. Now I don't try to call nothing on people. I don't try to call nothing on people. And I know the power I got now, honey. I'm learning. I know the power I got. And I know exactly why I'm sitting here and for who. And it ain't nothing your motherfucking ass can say, Xander. You and nobody else. Honey, ain't no damn thing you can say to me. But you better get your ass on and find you somewhere where it's going to benefit you. Because this ain't going to benefit you. It ain't. And trust me, you don't want this on you and your family, your babies and stuff. Because when the ancestors realize that you, the main one, just like everybody else trying to keep them from getting justice that's due to them, that's trying to stop us from learning and remembering about them, then, honey, you ain't going to have no peace. You ain't going to have no peace. Start using y'all head and stop trying to go somewhere and incite and bullying people about the truth being revealed. It's going to be revealed. There's nothing you can do about it. So if something not resonating with your ass, Xander, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else if it's not resonating with you. Why y'all want to stay where something is just irritating? Why? And then when people call you out on your shit and let you know, then you got a problem with it. But I want you to know exactly who I'll be telling. And that's my ancestors, honey. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. So, don't come over here with this shit. Because, honey, I will call everybody's name in this book after I tell them your name. Yep, I sure will. I don't want to do that to y'all and stuff. Hell, I just got here. I'm talking to my people. And if you part of my people, Xander, you damn sure need to take your ass to some black media and start learning and stuff. Get yourself set up somewhere where you can be with you. Because it looked to me like you having it hard trying to find somewhere to be. Well, this ain't it either. So, yeah, and with that, I'm going to let y'all go and stuff, yeah. I ain't told them to do nothing to you or nothing. I'm just letting you know. But I will. I sure will. I will let my ancestors know, all of y'all motherfuckers. Sure will. You're not going to stop them getting no justice. Not through me, you not. You ain't going to use me for that bullshit. I want my ancestors to receive justice. I want my people to know the truth. Shit, you got something to do about African stuff. Shit, you supposed to be over there talking with the sister platform, talking about Africa. Shit, you ain't supposed to be right here trying to sway me. Shit, you better take your ass on somewhere, honey. This ain't the place for you to be. Hey there, Mike. It's so good to see you. I know we've been missing each other and stuff, but I'm trying to furnish this apartment and stuff. But yeah, I will. I'll get it furnished and stuff. But yeah, I don't like that shit, Xander. Don't bring your ass in here no more. Take your ass on somewhere else. But yeah, that's all right, Anu. Yeah, jumped on late. Thank you so much for your salutations and greetings. And we finna leave now. We finna go process this and stuff. And we'll be back to finish some more readings and stuff. Because I got some platforms that I want to finish looking at and stuff too. Because I love listening to us. And that's what I do. And peace and power to the people.